Katie from Little Miss Kate here, and today I'm talking to you about the Medela Pump and Style Advanced Double Electric Breast Pump. So this is my pump that I bought over 5 years ago now, when the day my son was born. He was a preemie and wasn't able to nurse right away because he was so tiny, so I knew I needed to be able to pump. And while they do provide pumps at the hospital, I knew I needed to pump when I came home at night as well. So this is it. So please ignore the little, some of the dust and the dirt that's on the pump. It is 5 years old and has gone through a lot of pumping sessions in that time. So let's take a look at this actual pump. So this pump, this one is the backpack version of the Pump and Style Advanced. You can get a couple of different styles. There's one that is like a shoulder bag, or you can just get the pump on its own. In this case, it's a nice backpack. It makes for easy transport if you are taking it back and forth to different places. And it's got some really great pockets. So there's a nice pocket at the back. I liked this one to keep my sterilization bags in. They fold up nicely at the back. And there are pockets on either side so that if you are tucking a bottle or anything like that in, they fit in great there. So looking at the actual pump, it's in this bottom compartment here that zippers open, which is perfect for storing all the power cords and tubes and stuff like that. So looking inside, I have the power adapter that just plugs into a hole at the bottom here. So when you do have access to a plug, you would just use that power adapter. This version also comes with the battery adapter. So it's this little portable battery pack, and you would just put the batteries in and again plug it into the same place that the regular power adapter plugs into. This is perfect for, if you're traveling or at a place that you don't necessarily have access to a power outlet. I used it when I was traveling internationally over to Europe. It was perfect to have that option as well. Then also inside are the tubing for the pump, and then the actual pump itself. Plugs in. There are 2 spots for tubes to plug into, so one for each flange. And if you are doing only, if you do want to pump only on a single side, you do have that option. There's a little piece here in the middle that just pulls forward, and it's actually attached to the pump, and you can just move it over and cover the hole for the second side, so that you only just have one tube hooked up so that you can pump. Or if you do want to do 2, again, you would just move it back and then plug in your second tube. For suction, there's a dial up here at the top that allows you to you turn to select how much suction you want while you're pumping. And the Medela pump is set up so that for the first 2 minutes of pumping, it's doing shorter, faster suctions. And then after 2 minutes, it goes to longer, slower suction. And so there's a button here that lets you convert between those 2 modes. I have always sort of used it on the default setting and found that worked really well for me. But if you do get really fast letdowns and you don't need as much of the shorter, faster suctions, you could just press this button to get into the longer, slower rhythmic ones. Or if you vice versa, if your body responds really well to the shorter suctions, you could just push the button again to go back to that setting. Now there are a couple of pockets at the top too. There's one smaller pocket up at the top, which I found handy for either breast milk bags or sometimes some lanolin cream. And then this big pocket up at the top is where I would hold the actual flanges, and this one came with a great little cooler pack that holds 4 of these bottles, and an ice pack that fits around them perfectly. It's actually contoured to fit around the 4 bottles. We love that little cooler pack. If I could get more of those just by themselves, I would. My husband likes it so much that he uses it to take take in his lunch because you can fit pop cans around it perfectly now that we're not using it to transport, you know, milk back and forth to the hospital or to daycare. So this is what the actual flanges look like. So I'm just going to go through the different parts of them. So you have the bottle at the bottom, that's where you would collect the actual milk. And then the flange itself is made up of 2 parts for the top, and then this valve with a membrane on it. So there's a little piece of plastic here that just attaches. You just press it in and it sort of clicks in, and that's the part where the milk is actually going to drop through this this valve at the bottom of the flange. I like that the flange comes apart into 2 pieces for a couple of reasons. One being that it's just a little bit easier to clean, like all the way at the back here. You can get into it a little bit easier when it comes apart. And 2, if you are using a hands-free bra for pumping, you're able to put this flange on your body, and then put this through the bra, and then attach this piece at the back really easily with for wearing one of those bras. The one thing just to take note of is with this little membrane piece that is attached to the valve, if you do lose or find that your pumping's not good or losing suction, the first thing to check is here. You are going to find that over time with use, you will get little end washing rips and tears in these membranes. It's easy to get replacements for them. They're easy to replace. You just pop it off and pop a new one on. But that's the first place to look if you're having some issues pumping, is to make sure that those are still in good shape and attached properly. Because the other thing I've also had is that it's not quite pushed in all the way. It's just sort of sitting in there and not creating a seal, and then you'll lose suction on that. So it just needs to be pushed in flat against. So it just goes onto the bottom. You're gonna screw the bottle onto the bottom and then plug in your tubing and you're ready to go. One thing to note is with the Medela system, it does not happen very often. In all my times pumping, I think I've only had it happen to me twice, but it is possible for the milk to get into the tubing. So what you just want to be careful of is when you do start pumping, just have a look to make sure the milk is actually collecting in the bottom. The 2 times I've had it happen to me is just the little membrane itself has just, after washing, just dried on to the yellow valve. And so what I got into the habit of doing is when I was attaching the bottles, I just run my finger just to make sure that it was loose, so that it was easy for the milk to escape down into the bottom instead of backing up into the base of the flange and getting into your tubing. That's only ever happened when I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. I just hooked up and, you know, normally I'm watching something on my iPad or something like that, and all of a sudden I'm like, why isn't there any milk in the bottles? And that's why. It's just because those little membranes are just sticking to the valve. So overall, I've been really happy with my Medela Pump and Style pump. I highly recommend it to other moms out there who are looking for a breast pump that is you know, easy to use and easy to transport with you while you're on the go. If you have any questions about the Medela Pump and Style, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe to the Little Miss Kate YouTube channel for more informative product reviews. Until next time.